Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. And today I'll be reading a multi-character listener by me. So let's get into it. Scaramouche. Now, could you truly blame him? He wasn't used to this. Being affectionate, loving someone to be with them all the time, and living with someone else in the same house. There were some things that were new to him. Things that he needed to get used to more. And as always, things that were new like that would cause him to experience things differently. He had no idea how to react. After all, he didn't live most of his life being loved. And he wasn't used to living with someone, sharing his living space with them, waking up to kisses and cuddles. It was all new. So new to him it was absolutely jarring. And it felt like his life was being tipped sideways before it could balance. And he didn't know if balance would ever be achieved for him, at least not in the way he saw it. And soon enough, with this new way of living getting dumped onto him, and of course he knows he accepted it, he's still a little bit overwhelmed. And it starts to irritate him. Slowly, but surely. He knows you're not to blame. It's not truly your fault, nor his. Maybe it's neither of your faults, but it happened. And that was something you knew. Something he needed to work on. But maybe those feelings of his, they just came at the worst time. Because when you were going to cuddle him, he snapped at you. "Would you stop being clingy for a little bit, Wayan?" he said. And you felt shocked by it. Hurt. And you could see it all over your face, just backwards, looking down on the floor. "Oh, I didn't realize you saw it that way," he murmured softly, tears already welling up in your eyes. And Scaramouche realized it was too late to try and fix that mistake. He had already said those words. There was no going back. So he only stared in silence as he walked back to your room. And instead, tried to think of a way to make it up to you. Or at least clarify what he was thinking. It wasn't that he disliked your touch, but rather he just needed time to be used to this. So at the very least, he won't be overwhelmed in the future. Venti? Now, Venti actually had a very similar situation to Scaramouche. He was used to being loved. Maybe not all people knew him so closely, but he had people who loved him. People he was close to and used to. People whom he loved and cared about, and who cared about him in return. It was something he treasured, and something he felt lucky to have. But with you, sharing his living space with another person, much like Scaramouche, it was a new thing. And not to mention, lately you've been very clingy with him, cuddling him always, and leaving him little alone time. For someone like Venti, who was always used to wandering around, being alone, a soul like him was not exactly for the life of settling down. It felt like he was being chained back, or something. And he knew you were enchaining him or trapping him. But at the same time, it felt like that, and you couldn't deny it. That's why he snapped at you when you came to hug him. "Wayan, you're kind of being clingy," he said, giving you a look, and you flinched, looking away with a hurt face. "You truly think that? That I'm clingy?" He nodded, then let out a soft sigh, seeing as you were close to tears already. "No, Wayan, that's not what I meant. Just listen to me, please. I mean, it's kind of difficult, you know. I'm not used to this life, to living with someone and loving someone and being held like that all the time. I'm not even used to being in the same place every day. It's just a lot for me, and I feel overwhelmed." And even though it did not wipe off the hurt off your face, it was still something, an explanation for his behavior. And that's all you wanted, to understand and give him the space he so desperately needed. Even if he was harsh, you understood, and you came to forgive him, which he was grateful for. Xiao actually likes the affection, but it's the fact that sometimes he's not in the mood for it. And with his poker face, most of the time it's really difficult to tell when he's in the mood for things and when he's not. He doesn't make it easy, so you should not take the blame. But the thing is, you've been trying your best too. And, well, you didn't think it would be that big of a deal. Usually, he would probably give you a clue. Maybe you wanted to go somewhere or do something, and you would take that as a sign and get off and get away from him. Give him the space he needs. You don't mind him asking for space, but perhaps it's the way he asks it that matters most. And when you're going to hug him, and he snaps at you, telling you that you're clingy, no wonder that you're hurt. You really think that, Xiao? That I'm too clingy? Do you dislike it when I hug you? You ask him, looking hurt and crossing your arms. Xiao looks at you, surprised by what came out of his mouth. Maybe he had something to say, but he certainly didn't mean for it to come out that way. And certainly not in a way that would hurt you like this. So if anything, he knows that he hurts you. And he knows he shouldn't have said any of that. Why on, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that you're clingy, I just... Tell me the truth, Xiao. I want to know it. Please. He shook his head. I like it when you hold me, Wyan. But sometimes Sometimes I feel like I'm going through a lot. And I don't want to be near anyone. So that's it. That's why I snapped at you. But it's wrong of me. I know that. So I'm really sorry, Wyan. Please, just don't mistake it for anything else. I love you, and that's true. It's a fact, and it won't change. He said it firmly, and you could tell he meant it. So he let out a soft sigh and nodded. Fine then, Xiao. But next time, tell me without the attitude. And he nodded, not wanting to make a mistake like that again. He certainly didn't mean it, and he was glad that you were willing to let it slide.